Hey everybody, welcome back to Keith 60 Hotshot Adventures. Working on my '05 Pontiac Vibe. It's got 360,000 or something miles on it. Passenger side wheel bearing. I've been driving it for a couple thousand miles and I've been noticing a noise. And besides the fact, off topic, that the exhaust is basically falling off the car, and I guess we'll just stay off topic for a second. Getting fumes in the car in the wintertime. So orientation wise, it sits like this with your O2 facing the passenger side. It sits like that under the hood. And then you've got your shield right here covering it, basically. Anyways, so the weld points where there was a shield at some point that is missing, there is daylight, and all the exhaust fumes are coming out of here straight up. And on these cars, well, that's where your heater core is. Since we're off topic, we might as well stay there. The fumes are coming right up the firewall, and then this is your intake for like your air conditioner and your heater core and all that stuff. Well, when you're sitting in a traffic light, you're literally pulling in exhaust fumes. Anyways, back on task. Wheel hub assembly. So, basically you can, from the back, 12mm bolts from the back. Unscrew them out of the back of this. There are 4 of them in the back. And this is a no ABS or wheel speed sensor or anything on the back of mine. It's for being an 05. Took me a couple hours to get it out. Very, very sad. Anyways, it had the typical high mileage Ohio rust weld between the hub and where the hub sits in here. I've tried different, that's my biggest hammer I have at this point. My big sledgehammer is elsewhere. Anyways, I've tried an air hammer with the impact socket against the back, so I'm not messing up the nut. Trying to just force it through. Wasn't even budging, honestly. It didn't, or at least none that I could tell if it was microscopic amounts. I tried to put the wheel back on it, hit it from the back, hit it from the front, try and, break it free. That didn't do anything. If anything, it just tweaked the flange in there, because then when I rotated the tire, I thought I warped the rim, which thankfully I didn't. Anyways, the only thing that worked for me, or seemed to help, is one of these little portable torch kits. I've had that one for years. I just keep buying new tanks for it as needed, or swapping them out in this case. And I just been throwing the light here. I just heated it up along the outside flange, heated it up along the side, being careful not to put too much heat up here, because that's your wheel cylinder, and you don't put too much heat there because that's brake fluid. It's not gonna like the heat of an oxyacetylene torch. But just going around it, just heating it up. As you can see, or not see, it kind of melted it at points a little bit. It ain't stuck if it's liquid, right? But just kept heating it. And then once I thought I had it heated enough, just took the hammer and just hit it. In my case, I don't have some cars actually have the plug right in the back for something. I didn't have it, so I just basically hit it dead in the middle. It already had a hole in it. And then all of a sudden it just moved. And then I just worked it off from there. But probably one of the hardest wheels hub adapters to get off in a while. Usually only takes me a few minutes to get these off, hour tops, and I've been at this for a couple of hours using various tools. I tried the whole screwdriver, wedge it in between the backing plate. They're like, hey, just get the screwdriver and just like wedge it in here But this isn't very thick. This isn't very thick metal for that, and I didn't wanna tweak it for how stuck this was. But just wanted to share my trials and tribulations here of getting that out. And the only thing worked for me was a lot of heat. I mean, spray. At the end of the day, heat wins every time. Spray, I've very rarely, if ever, had that actually get it off. I follow a cool guy on YouTube, off topic here, South Main Auto. He's used and tried every brand of penetrating oil, Croil, all that stuff on the market. He's tried them all. And, you know, in his opinion, as in probably most mechanics, it doesn't. It helps, yes. But for stuff like this, it's not. It's just not going to help anything. The only thing that's going to help at this point is a torch and a bigger hammer. And we'll cut it off here. Just kind of rambling. Thanks for tuning in. I got to go to the parts store now. Reverse process, get a new one. The bolts are just kind of sitting here because this plate will literally just fall down. And your brake line's connected. So that's just kind of keeping it there. But, put the other one on. Put the 4 bolts in the back. Torque them to spec. Put your drum back on. Adjust your brakes if necessary. Put your wheel on and you're done. We're going to end it there. Thanks, guys. Alright, so here we go. We got the brand new hub. I wasn't going to end it that way, but anyways. Mount it on there. What you will notice, it only goes on one way. If you look at the old hub, you'll see the top, in this case, is wider than the bottom. And the bolt pattern reflects, so there is only one way it will go on, so you can't put it on the wrong way. The bolts back there, I have them torqued to 50 foot-pounds. I know you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like it should be more, should be more. Well, I checked around. Most people said 50. A lot of, somebody posted a manual said 45, some said 65. They're just small 12mm bolts. So I put them at 50, some red Loctite. The bolts do not carry the actual weight. It's what they call hub centric, so the hub is carrying the weight. The bolts are just kind of keeping it there. So 50 is more than enough. It didn't take anything to get those bolts out, so 50 probably is accurate. If you have an all-wheel drive model, you'll have the CV axle that comes through the middle of yours, and then you'll have to torque that down. I don't know. I think I saw something about 165 foot-pounds for the nut for that. In my case, it's two-wheel drive. I don't have that. I'm going to finish by adjusting my brakes up, throw the drum on, put the wheels on. I generally torque my lug nuts somewhere between 100 and 110 on my car. So, alright, just wanted to close it out with some torque specs and that little note about it only goes on one direction. You can't screw it up. I did, this will probably be the last wheel bearing this car ever sees, being the mileage I have. I threw some anti-seize on the backing plate here and around the hub. Used a wire wheel, cleaned everything off before I put it in, so if for some reason the car makes it another 100,000 miles, or if this bearing goes out before then, in the next couple thousand, it'll be super easy to come off when I need it to. Anyways, thanks all.